Yo guys, welcome back, it is Ripe again. Today we got a super creepy episode of Entitled Parents and I know you're gonna love this one. So sit back, relax and enjoy the video. You already have one brother, my daughter has none, let me have him. A bit of a backstory. My dad used to be in the Navy and he was a single dad of 3 kids. It is beyond me how he did it, but he's a spectacular dad and somehow he managed to raise us on his own with the help of my grandparents. And of course the occasional nanny when he was overseas. We live in base housing where everybody knew everybody and everyone had kids and family. It was honestly the safest and most relaxed setting one could grow up in. Being my dad was single, whenever we were out playing and dad was not with us, my older sister stepped up and was in charge of us because she was the oldest. Lucy, our across the street neighbor and the nanny for the street, would sometimes watch us, which I was fine with because her daughter, Sarah, was my best friend. This happened when Lucy and her family were out of the house. My older brother and sister were still at school and I was told not to wander too far from our house while playing outside. We lived on the corner lot and we had the biggest front yard, so it was common for most of the kids to hang out at our house. But I was too young to go to school and aside from Sarah, there was only one other kid my age in the immediate vicinity and she was across the street shyly looking at me while she played with toys in her own yard. Eventually, she left her toys and came over to play and she introduced herself. "Hey, my name is EK. "Oh hi, my name is Kyle," I replied. I don't remember saying much after that, besides just picking at the grass and looking at the clouds. And maybe riding bikes around the corner of the neighborhood. I'm pretty sure she called my house boring, to which I said that having my brother and sister around made it less boring because then I could go to the park. She frowned and said she was an only child, but that also meant she got a lot more toys. She then asked me if I wanted to come over and explained she had a super cool merry-go-round in her backyard. Of course, to any kid, that sounds like a good time. "Hold on," I said excitedly. "I have to tell my dad." Just then, my sister came around the corner talking with my brother. Instead of going to my dad and telling him, I ran up to her and told her where I would be. "And where does EK live?" she asked, looking over at the blonde girl sitting on the lawn. The EK pointed across the street. "Okay then, I will come get you when dinner is ready, okay?" "Okay, but don't forget to tell Dad too," I said, running off to join EK as she walked towards her house. We went into her house and it was like stepping into a veritable toy box. Toys everywhere, ranging from Barbies to Hot Wheels and even some Legos. I was absolutely in shock. I had never seen so many toys. She casually walked past all the toys and guided me to the backyard. There it was, a small merry-go-round. I immediately ran over to it and hopped on, kind of pushing the thing with my foot to make it start up. She also jumped on and before we knew it, we were having a blast. Her mom, the EP, came out and all I can remember of her was that she was an absolute unit with somewhat messy blonde hair, wearing a hot pink shirt and jeans. Yay, 90s fashion. Her mom was watching us play, smiling and enjoying the moment while she sat down and smoked a cigarette. It occurred to me that I had never seen this family before today and it made me feel a little nervous and a little awkward to have some adult I had never ever seen before watch over me while I played with someone I had just met earlier today. Eventually, the EP called out that she was headed inside to make dinner and I was welcome to stay. I gotta tell you guys, so far the story does not seem very entitled. The mom actually seems kinda nice, right? But well, let's see how it continues. A couple of minutes passed and I think the EK could sense that something was wrong with me, so she brought me inside to play with some of her toys. I tried forcing myself to ignore the awkward position and started playing with some Legos. About half an hour passed before I heard a light knocking at the door. Curious, I peeked out to the hallway where the mom was answering the door. It was my sister. "Is Kyle here?" my sister asked. Yes," the EP replied in a condescending tone. "Could you please tell him that dinner is ready and that Dad wants him home? My sister politely asked. The EK must have snuck her way behind me because all I heard was a huge draw of breath before she firmly yelled the word, "No!" I turned around and there she was, stomping her feet and crossing her arms, looking a lot less like a friend now and more like an entitled stranger. The EP leaned against the door, taking up the entire frame, probably doing some damage to the hinges on the door, since I assume it could not support that much weight. "Well, why doesn't he come and get his kid then?" she asked accusingly. "Well, I'm in charge of him," my sister shot back. "Missy, I don't care. You have another brother and my daughter does not have any siblings. Do you really need this one back so soon?" she replied. My jaw dropped and immediately all kinds of alarms were going off in my head. I could tell my sister was reacting the same way because there was just silence on the other side of the door. The EP slammed the door in my sister's face and my eyes began to water because now I was alone with two people who I barely knew and who were not allowing me to go home. Damn, honestly, what a creepy turn this story took. The EP saw this and immediately assumed I was crying because I didn't want to go home. "Oh, don't worry, darling. I won't let her take you home. Now wash up for dinner. It's almost ready," she said in a sick, motherly tone. "Yay!" EK replied, after apparently not hearing her mom asking us to wash up, as she gleefully skipped after her mom. I went to the bathroom alone and faked washing my hands. I turned on the faucet and let it run as I quietly made my way to the door and slipped out. I ran across the street and went inside to where my sister was stunned, and my dad telling me I was late for dinner. She clearly had not told him because he never said a single word about it. This all happened years ago when I was about 5, and I had almost forgotten about it until I visited my hometown earlier this week. My dad just got out of the Navy to be more of a presence in our lives, and he did a great job raising us. This story has been something my sister and I had kept between us. In a way, it's almost as if I walked out on my own child abduction. This story felt like straight out of a horror movie, to be honest. Like when he said the alarm bells in his head were going off, that sounded to me, or that reminded me of a scene actually in Red Dead Redemption 2, if you know that game, where you have that random encounter with this incest family where they invite you to dinner and then they want you to stay, and then they eventually drug you and take all your stuff and maybe do even worse. So yeah, actually I'm really glad that story took a good turn at the end and the guy got out. Okay, anyway, let's get to the next story. The next one is more of a classic Entitled Parents story, but it's pretty long, so yeah, sit back, relax, as usual. Entitled parents think they can get free stuff because they have kids. Background. I work in an Asian restaurant in the heart of the city where I live. It's one of those restaurants where you order at the counter and we will bring your food out to you, whether it's takeout or if you're eating in. It's a very casual restaurant and the cutlery and bowls are provided on all the tables. It's a very popular place and we generally get great reviews. With each main meal, the customer gets free ice cream cone provided. We have an ice cream machine where the customers are free to help themselves. Sounds fun, right? So when people are eating in, the cones provided are on the trays we use to carry the food out to them. The cones are only given with main meals and not sides, starters, which people have seriously kicked up a fuss over in the past. I have had people personally curse me out because they did not get a cone with their $4 spring rolls. I mean, it's advertised that they only come with meals. Can't you read? Now, on to the story. This all took place today. Busy enough night. I was only about a half an hour into my shift and in walks a man and a pregnant woman with their 2 kids. The kids seemed to be both under 5 years old. I did not take their order, but they seemed friendly enough when my coworker was taking their order. They ordered 2 curries with sides, which are main meals, so that means 2 free cones. Nothing was ordered for their children except a portion of fries or rice, I cannot really remember. However, I take their food down to them and they are all smiles and they seem happy. Great. But not really. When they finish their food, the mother comes up to the counter and says, excuse me, can I have an ice cream please? Me, not understanding, thinking she's asking for extra cones that cost €2 on their own. No problem, how many would you like? It's €2 per cone for extra. So the moody woman said, I don't want to pay extra. My kids didn't have their ice cream. Me, very confused, I was 100% certain the 2 cones with the main meals were on the tray for them. Sorry, but I'm not really understanding you. Did we provide you with cones with your main meals or not? The moody woman, now shooting me daggers. I'm saying my kids didn't get their ice cream. I glance over to the table where the family was sat and I saw that there was indeed cones on the table, which were being eaten by the kids without ice cream on them. My restaurant has a strict policy with the ice cream due to so many customers abusing the freeness of it in the past. You drop your ice cream after you pour it and you want another one? You pay for it. You want an ice cream even though you only ordered a small portion of rice? You pay for it. You order one main meal to share but you want an extra cone for your friend? You pay for it. You eat your cone raw, you pay for the second cone with actual ice cream on it. See where I'm getting at here? So I said, oh, okay, I see what you mean now. So I will just explain the policy to you. So you get 1 free cone per main meal, but if you would like an extra one, you have to pay €2 extra individually. And oh, Jesus Christ, I'm not letting you charge me for something that's supposed to be free. My kids didn't get their ice cream. As I was saying, ma'am, your kids are eating the cones without the ice cream on them. It is just the restaurant policy that we cannot provide another free one when we already gave you one that's free. I'm sorry about that, but moody mom, raising her voice, this place is a joke. She storms away from the counter, yanks her youngest child from the baby seat provided by the restaurant and practically throws the seat to where she took it from in the first place. The moody mom now shouting across the restaurant, this place is a effing joke. They are trying to charge me for something that's free. I'm never coming back here again. At this point, most of the customers in the restaurant at that present time were regular customers, so even they were looking at her as if they say, calm the F down, lady. The woman's husband gets involved by telling my coworker and I that we were a disgrace for upsetting 2 kids. I didn't let it get to me because honestly, it wasn't my fault, and that they let their 2 kids scoff the cones because they didn't bother their asses to get up and pour them one. So they leave, and I think that's finally the end of it. But oh God, was I wrong. The father comes back in less than 2 minutes and marches up to the counter to me. I mentally prepared myself to endure verbal abuse. Oh my God, honestly at this point I feel so bad for the guy working there. Like, I know those people don't make that much money, so you should always think about how you treat them. So the a-hole dad, speaking to me and my coworker, said, I just want to say, I don't give a shit about the ice cream, but I think it's absolutely scandalous that you girls denied ice cream to my 2 very upset kids. You 2 clearly don't know how to handle customers with care. Me being as calm as possible, I'm going to stop you right there, sir. I tried to explain to your wife the policy regarding the ice cream, but I think she misunderstood. We provide free ice cream cones with each meal that's ordered, but your kids ate the cones without any ice cream on them, and it's management orders that we cannot provide another free one when we already did it. I'm sorry that you feel very negatively about that, but we are just working according to the policy. The a-hole dad once again raising his voice. Well, it's a load of shit. I'm going to leave a negative Facebook review on this about your lack of customer service. You made my 2 kids very upset and I'm pissed about that. Well, I'm sorry that you feel that way. It's just the restaurant policy, which I have explained more than once now. The entitled parent storms out, cursing at me along the way. I was so shocked at this occurrence that I had to excuse myself to the bathroom to have a little cry. I mean, how dare he personally threaten me with a negative review just because him and his wife tried to get free stuff when they were already getting something for free. It is really a low blow to threaten a minimum wage worker just because they didn't abuse the policy for them. Customers like these anger me so much, especially the one that think it's okay to cause a scene and to curse or yell at me in front of the entire restaurant. All this happened basically less than an hour into my shift, and it pretty much ruined the whole day for me. I have since checked Facebook multiple times since then, still no negative review, but I'm still anticipating it, but not in a good way. I think the person that's telling the story, which is obviously a real story, really didn't do anything wrong in this situation. I mean, she followed the protocol and she really had no authority to break the protocol. She would get into so much trouble for that, and it's just not worth it for her. Do you think that's bad customer service on her behalf, or could she have dealt with the situation in a different way? Personally, I'm totally on her side here. Since the kids were under the supervision of obviously their parents, the parents are also responsible for following the rules. So it is absolutely not the fault of the poor minimum wage worker, but instead the fault of the stupid entitled parent. Okay guys, thanks so much for watching my videos. I would really appreciate it if you could like my video, subscribe, and maybe even leave a comment telling me where I could improve or what I did good. For the next video, I'm probably gonna try a different subreddit, which is called Am I the A-hole, which is also longer stories, and I think I excel at those longer stories compared to the really short ones. So yeah, stay tuned for the next video.